Okay, I am recording letters to you in 144. But what if from the airport in Stockholm, and it's going to be noisy. Sorry. Dear Ewan, I was at a party last night. A friend told me that another friend was pregnant and that she could feel her in utero's baby's awareness in her own mind, like a separate awareness to her own. It was pure and just awareness. Beautiful, right? Believable. Too woo. Do we do the thing where someone just talked about their religion openly and politely nod? Whatever that question set is doing, I believe that it's at least pointing at something odd. Two contrarians walk into a bar in my mind. How do we know, or one says, how do we know she's not projecting her own deep innocence onto the mirror of her right brain and perceiving herself through the lens of looking at her baby, like she's making this up? Two, yeah, but what about that podcast that everybody's talking about where ESP is real? One, we kind of believe that some part of our awareness is always including what we're seeing in the mirror. Like there's always going to be a reflective imposition on what we see. Two, totally, but how do we know we're not radio towers? We can feel the frequencies being put out because we're electrical. And then a third dude walks in, the IVF child of the two already arguing. Their surrogate was the dad. He chimes in, why does nobody ever have the gall or kink to ask, what if you're both right? What if the nature of reality has her looking at herself, projecting her own pure awareness onto the baby, and this is not inconsistent with actually sensing her baby's awareness in her mind? He gets animated. Why are we presuming we understand how awareness works, or how we interact with it, or what mediums different people have to make it legible? What if projection is the manifold for objective information besides and including reflection? What if we're so connected that with proper deciphering, I can say that I'm touching you and looking at me, and vice versa? Would that be okay if awareness was self-touching? Would it be okay if the telescopes and microscopes we're using to perceive and measure reality were so intertwined with our beings that we could never look at anything without absorbing how we're looking at ourselves? Physicists always seem to be looking for a unified theory, something to tie together quantum mechanics, strong and weak nuclear forces, and relativity. That's cool. We really seem sure that there is one. What is that one that it will all make sense? One supposition I don't see being made is, can our attempts to find one answer ever be divorced from we who ask the question? The sensation you feel is suspiciously like the sensation I used to feel when I wanted to finish all my shadow work. I remember the biggest leaps in not doing that. They all came from owning that I wanted to clean my shadow perfectly so that I'd definitely be lovable. What happens if I surrender my concept of one answer? I sit here and muse. What if she's looking at herself and it's seeing her baby perfectly? at the exact same time? What if she's projecting and perceiving? What if projection is perception and perception is projection? Voldemort told me to read Kindly Bent to Ease Us by Longchenpa. He said it was the best book for not understanding Buddhism. The book starts with, pray to your guru to not understand these words as you read them. It then goes on to reiterate, paraphrased, what if all I can see is the reflection of the moon in water? All the debating collapses for a moment. My mind stops needing to decide between mirror and moon. Some part of my heart shudders toward peace reading that. It's something like, even if I can't see it, there must be a moon. There is a real moon. And this feels like those moments where I actually feel love. And my drive to know whether a pregnant lady is psychic feels like that. The unified theory I'm hunting is the felt fact that subject and object are more synonymous than not. I'm making plans to do an immersion with Peter Munterkos in Stockholm mid-May. I hope you can come. Love, Mike. P.S. I was reading this to Jay and showed him how, on some level, when he looks at his kids and sees them as innocent, he's definitely projecting some of his unowned innocence at them. The reason I'm writing this is because I don't think that knowing that we're projecting should make anyone feel invalidated. We're basically a bunch of sentient mirrors walking around, all simultaneously reflecting our we. We just had the immersion that I was just talking about, and it was amazing. See you tomorrow.